You're flying with Pod Squadron Podcast. Welcome aboard. This is Captain Rex from the cockpit. I know this is probably your first flight, and it's mine too. Pod Rex standing by.
Oh, Pod Tracer standing by. I love that.
Children of a Lesser Pod standing by.
All ships to attack formation. Mission objectives to talk about the Star Wars in movies, streaming, animation, books, themed experiences, and your art and inspiration from the galaxy far, far away. And tonight's flight plan includes the 35th anniversary of Star Tours. Happy anniversary. That's why we started the show off that way. Also, the Book of Boba Fett Chapter 2, The Tribes of Tatooine. And a new segment this week we're calling Headcanon, but we'll get into that a little later. And for all of you out there, all channels are open. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Find us on YouTube. Like and subscribe and hit the bell icon so you know when we have new content. But first, I'll be your squad leader for today. I'm Andy Lowe, aka the Chinese pirate, director, storyteller, puppeteer, performer, and fight choreographer. On my wing is Tracy.
Hi, I'm Tracy, suburbsteader and all-around nerd and a hot nerd girl.
And on my other wing is Jason.
Hey, hot nerd boy. No, I'm kidding. Filmmaker, toy collector, all around geek. So, hey guys.
Hi.
And we are just one squad in the fleet. We're part of the Geekish Network. That's right here on YouTube and on Facebook, the Geekish Network. And don't forget all of our other shows that are here on the Geekish Network along with us every night of the week. Of course, you know, we just came from Crosstalk, so check out all the other shows. S-foils to attack position. We're going in. Hey, everyone. So just starting off real quick. Today is January 10th. Yesterday, January 9th, 35 years ago. Boy, I'm old.
I wasn't even born yet.
Oh, God. Shut your face.
We're just gonna go with it.
Just gonna go.
Yeah.
Wait, so then you never even experienced, I mean, was Captain EO a thing in your youthful memory?
I'm way too young for Captain EO, Andy.
Fair.
You mean the original Borg? But I wouldn't know.
Yes, the original Borg.
Oh yeah, she was the original Borg.
Played by oh gosh,
Angelica Houston.
Yeah.
I just want to say a quick hi to Paul because he can't stay because we're too late on the East Coast for weeknights. all of our East Coast
Paul.
fans can't watch us, but Paul always pops in because he's a sweetheart. So hi, Paul.
You rock.
I'm tired and I'm on the West Coast, so I'm sleepy time.
But yeah, okay. So 35 years of Star Tours. This was the second collaboration between Lucasfilm and Walt Disney Imagineering. It was the first, of course, was Captain EO, which I alluded to before, and it was also the first motion motion control vehicle. What am I saying? Not motion control. Motion
stand still.
Motion simulator attraction in a theme park. And it, of course, gave birth to so many innovations. I mean, practically like the entire Universal model is based on this, right?
Back to the Future.
Back to the Future, Harry Potter.
I mean, I only remember The Simpsons.
Great Scott.
Tracy was born in 2006.
Yeah. I can't even legally drink this, guys.
Oh God.
Also, though, Star Tours gave birth to the RX droids. We now have another RX droid that we've seen in Garza's sanctuary. Looks like dealing cards.
Sorry, I had to.
Excellent. Yes. Proto Borg Queen.
We are here to change the world.
little bit of Klingon in there too, huh?
That's right.
Yeah. Little alien face.
A little alien as well.
Yeah. Sorry, I'll stay on point. There we go. Okay.
That's okay. No, I mean, I'm just kind of calling it out, right? This is an important point, yes, of course, because now, as Jason still has changed his background again to show a scene from Rise of the Resistance, which is like kind of not only the pinnacle of Star Wars in live entertainment, but kind of a pinnacle in themed entertainment right now. So it's a long.
This is where I pretend to be Jason's daughter so I can go on his next family Disney trip, so I can actually go on Rise of the Resistance for the first time.
I told you
still
the
haven't
luggage. You
yet.
just got to buy your own food. So
I can do it. I'm totally
Okay.
young enough to be your daughter.
that's it. Oh God, and I'm totally old enough to be your. What's happening? What's happening?
Now this is getting awkward.
It's very awkward. That's very awkward. That's crazy shit. Okay.
What else is going on with you guys? Anything to report from the galaxy beyond?
Oh.
I'm so sore. So sore. So many tree
from
planting.
homesteading
From-
I'm sorry,
Ugh.
from terraforming.
my back, yeah, but for terraform, yeah, my back is killing me. I planted 3 trees, did like a ton of work, and I'm sitting on a chair that is originally from Star Trek: The Experience from Quark's Bar, but it looks
Oh,
very
really?
cool. But I am, yeah,
Cool.
because my office chair got stolen by my boyfriend for the office downstairs, so that he can work and not have to sit in this. So anyway, but it is very.
I'm still
cool
just impressed
because
that you have a seat from Quark's Bar.
What does it look like? Is it
I
like a
do.
little chair or-
I have 2 of them. I have 2, so they look like this. Allow me.
It
I have
already
to-
looks
I have
uncomfortable.
a-
Okay. Oh wow.
Wow.
and,
Nice chair.
a hot nerd girl. Hold on. Well, I literally have to fold my legs in so that I can sit on this thing at my little desk here. But one of my HNG followers who is very into astronomy and everything, so we share this. He was moving from Las Vegas to somewhere on the East Coast, and he had 2 of these things, and I think his wife was making him get rid of them. But he asked me if I wanted them, and I said, yeah. And it just so happened that I had a friend who was going to college in Las Vegas, but who was coming back all the time. So she picked them up for me, like at the last possible moment. She picked them up from him, brought them back. They sat in her garage for like 2 years before I was able to pick these things up, because she lived up like way up in LA in like this really weird area, and I just never made it up there. Anyway, so now I have these 2 delightful chairs from Quark's Bar, but they are very uncomfortable. But I
But
love
they're
them.
probably worth something too, huh? I mean, Quark's Bar. I remember that.
I don't know.
That was at the Hilton,
Maybe.
right? In Vegas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Went there a ton of times, sat on these chairs many times there. So it was pretty exciting for me. Anyways,
Yeah,
this is a Star Wars podcast, not a Star Trek podcast.
But thank you for sharing
I'm sore.
the story of the chairs.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime.
But that said, so let's get into the Star Wars of the week. We are, of course, going to start talking about the Book of Boba Fett, Chapter 2, The Tribes of Tatooine. So if you're avoiding spoiler talk, I mean, you've had a whole week. Come on now. So, Boba Fett does some stuff. Okay, surviving an attempt on his life, by the order of the Night Wind, Boba Fett and Fennec Shand pay a visit to the mayor of Mos Espa. But after the mayor disavows the assassin and sends him back to Garza's sanctuary, Fett is faced with an intimidating set of rivals, a pair of twin Hutts, cousins of Jabba, who wish to lay claim to Jabba's empire, complete with their own Wookiee mercenary. Contemplating these new developments, Boba continues to dwell on his time spent with the Tusken Raiders. Having befriended his captors, he learned their ways, and finds his own way to help defend their tribe, taking down a Nikto swoopbike gang and a pike smuggler train in the process. For his gifts, the tribe honors him with a gift of their own, sending him on a vision quest leading to his acceptance into their tribe. That is this week's episode of the Book of Boba Fett.
Hey, Boba, wanna get high?
That's a good hot take from the this week's episode.
I can't wait till Hasbro starts marketing lizards that kids are going to shove up their noses. It's gonna be amazing. So the new Christmas gift, everyone.
Yes.
2022.
Yes.
Better than a COVID test. Just kidding. Take a COVID test.
Or maybe that's what it's the book of
The
Boba
lizard
Fett
will be the COVID
themed
test. So the
COVID
kids
test.
be like, ooh, God.
Maybe kids will take the COVID test more seriously.
Yeah, that was yeah, I mean, it kind of makes you wonder. It's like, I mean, it seemed like a pretty big lizard. I kind of wonder where it went.
It was so cute, and I was like horrified. I thought the lizard was gonna die. I was so sad.
Just die inside his brain somewhere. It's like
Like right in the frontal lobe right here, and then just so yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it was enthusiastically face hugged him, but
Yeah.
you never know.
Yeah.
well, you know, it's great. It was I also really liked his reaction because it was like, oh, thank you, lizard. Okay.
I guess if we really know where it was going, maybe not so much. So, oh God, it's the nose lizard.
I mean, it could have gone up in a different orifice,
Oh,
so I
God,
count
yeah.
your blessings.
It could always be worse.
That's a trip. That's a trip to the ER.
So what did you guys think of this episode?
I really dug. I mean, I know last week we discussed like I really liked the pilot, and I know a lot of people it was kind of a little polarizing for some, but I mean this one whatever shortcomings I felt the first one had, which were very small, this one all but made up for, in my opinion. I mean, and the ending and the train heist and you know the whole Lawrence of Arabia vibe there. I mean, it was just like it was pretty awesome, and I really dug it. I thought it was really well done. So.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, I thought, you know, I mean, there's still, I mean, there were so many things with this episode, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it almost was kind of two episodes in one, right? Well, I mean, I guess okay. Like,
Yeah.
like you have, of course, the whole. Okay, let me rephrase that. All of his memories of the Tuscan thing was pretty much a self-contained story in and of itself that had a really solid beginning, middle, and end.
Yeah.
And some great action, some really cool new additions to lore, and then you have that whole first section, which, you know, while it's just kind of poking at, okay, here's the overarching things that we're going at. There were so many cool things happening. In particular, you know, we have the Hutt twins.
Yeah.
Showing up on a litter. Now we actually know what they mean by, you know, by a litter, right? I appreciate
Pretty much what we imagined, right?
I mean, yeah, but also, like, you know, I mean, I gotta appreciate the background actors who really do look like they're struggling under the weight,
That was great. They're standing
like
there
staggering.
The whole thing is like
walk in a circle while he talks to him. This was poor planning.
I use my cats to wipe away my sweat, so I totally identified with them.
Oh, that was so funny, because it's like we remember, like, oh, he grabs the frog and he eats the frog.
Yeah.
What does he do? He's like, he's got this little furry thing, and he just pats down the sweat. That was so funny. I like laughed out loud at that.
I think those were the little rodents that that got frog licked in the original series.
In
which
that
we
little
saw
throwaway-
we saw. I think we saw one of those frog things that like came up from out of the sand during the Tuscan.
It's like
Yeah,
Return
they
of
dug
the
it out.
Jedi where it just quickly snaps him and
Yeah.
burps. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
He just likes all the woodland creatures for all of his, you know, daily needs, you know. I mean, you know, sweat and eating, and they got one for toilet paper. Who knows? I mean, it's all over the map. So.
Well, the girl cousin, she had the frog tank on her side.
Oh, right.
And then he had the rodent towel basket on the other. Although I feel like they do double duty as snacks and towels. It's like, oh, you eat the toad and then you wipe your mouth.
It's like, oh, my sweat is thick. Oh, now it's salty.
I get confused. You got rodent on my frog. You got frog. Oh my God, this is yummy. So
it's flavor.
Okay, Now we got to talk about this. Black Chrysanthemum.
Mm.
This is where my boyfriend tunes out because he wants to know nothing about this Wookiee, but it's too bad
He
because
originated
I already
in the
know about
comics,
this Wookiee.
correct?
Yeah, so I haven't read the comics. I am not. So I mean, I had the visceral reaction of, oh, that's one mean ass Wookiee, right? It's like he is. Whereas we all know Chewbacca. Chewbacca's usually kind of tall and skinny and lanky, but can rip arms out of their sockets. This is a buff Wookiee and just looking mean. I did kind of do a little bit of research, a little bit. I mean, but yeah, I guess he's got a lot of lore behind him in the comics. He's got a lot of linking to the character of Dr. Aphra, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, she's basically kind of like who was Vash? She's kind of like Vash
That's a good.
from the Next Generation for all you non-Trekkies.
So I mean, what else do you guys know about Black Chrysanthemum?
He worked for Jabba and he worked for Vader at some point from the comics. I remember for Vader.
He didn't work.
For Vader.
He didn't work for Boba. He worked with Boba for Vader.
Oh,
right. I mean, like, and he fought Solo and Chewbacca at some point. Like there was, I remember, there was like a hand-to-hand combat panel. I remember from the comics where they were just full-on fisticuffing, and so yeah, he was just like a brutal.
I think
fighter.
he defeated Chewie even.
Yeah,
I mean, I would believe it. This is a mean Wookiee, man.
Yeah, no, he don't take no crap from nobody. He fights you in the alley, takes your lunch money, and then he runs off. So yeah, he's hardcore.
Well, and if you look closely in Book of Boba Fett in the episode, you can see a scar right here from when that was from Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan at one point, Black Krrsantan kidnapped Lars Owen, and Obi-Wan, of course, is protecting that moisture farm because he's looking out for Luke, and he battles him and leaves that scar. So, and they showed that in the series, which I thought was pretty neat. But he's been kicked out of Kashyyyk. He's what they call I think it's a mad claw, right? Because he murdered anotder Wookiee at some point. So
basically,
he's like
he
a
got
baddie.
like the Klingon discommendation.
Right. But he also like at one point he is actually like he volunteers to be like this gladiator and because he wants these these brothers to basically Wolverine the shit out of him, and he has metal put in his claws so that he can really pack like
Like you see on the show, you see him a little bit,
Right. Yeah, they almost give him like brass knuckles though.
Yeah, it looked like he had spiky brass knuckles, but I mean, I did notice that, yeah.
Right. But then even though he volunteered for this, he like wants to kill those brothers, and it's like his life's mission to kill the brothers. So,
well, yeah, I mean, definitely, he rolls in and it's like, okay, this is foreshadowing, big fight coming.
And possible other appearances maybe too. I mean, I think that's such a huge character now that it wouldn't be surprising if he popped up in other shows. So
the big showdown. I think it's going to be the big showdown between him and Boba.
I mean, possibly even like a tease of other characters, right? Because, when you have this character that is so tied to so many other characters, like Dr. Aphra, like, does that leave an opening to kind of bring some of these other comic characters into live action or animation, right?
Yeah.
I hope so, because I would like to see her in live action.
Some of the best stories are from the novels, the comics, even more so than some of the movie plots. So, I mean, like, it would be great to see some of that explored finally. So
we jumped ahead a little bit, but I do want to talk about, I did really quite enjoy the Rancor fake out.
Yes.
Who else was expecting there to be Moochie though? I mean, really?
Yeah, I was kind of hoping.
Yeah, they talked about it, and we saw the rodent come by, so that was a precursor to him wiping his brow.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
Well, that was a different kind of rat. That was like a
was it?
rat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we saw them when C-3PO is walking through. We see like the rats and everything, in the
and Jedi. Yeah. I was expecting,
and it was next to the door that Luke tried to get out of. Did you notice that?
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I mean that whole sequence, I was like, oh, okay, that they kind of matched it shot for shot, right? So it was kind of fun to just kind of see like the
him
references
tumbling
in the
down.
editing, and then the door opens and there ain't nothing there, and it's like that's pretty cute. Okay.
And how quickly that guy folded. It was like, they'll
and then
never talk. Oh, it's the mayor.
Oh my! Well, did you see how quickly the Gamorreans like booked it when they said
Oh
Rancor?
yeah,
They
they're like,
were like,
Rancor. They got out of Dodge. Yeah, they went to each corner. They're like,
We
nope.
are far too tasty for this.
They like their pork.
but even like before that was in the first episode that the Fennec Shan said that Jabba had like this big menagerie. So I was definitely expecting there to be like some kind of backup Rancor down there. I was kind of sad.
I mean, I was wondering, like when they did the trapdoor opens, I'm like, oh, is this Moochie? Is this Moochie?
Yeah.
But presumably it has been 5 years, so maybe the big trainer guy has taken all of his little animals that he raised.
That'll be the last episode closer. Like he'll defeat whatever the big thing is, and then the last thing you're like, all right, I'm the boss now, and then like boop, Rancor. Oh, there it is, and cut to black. It's like,
can we have like one episode dedicated to Boba Fett recovering a Rancor, recovering Moochie? Like
there you go.
Oh.
Yeah,
that Rancor
with
belongs
me
to Jabba. It belongs to me now.
Yeah. Come here, I got an apartment for you. It's all laid out. Floor plan's great.
So let's get into some of the story points in the flashbacks. Okay, so we get to see him training with the Tuskens a little more, and
with his big boy trainer stick.
Yes, yeah. I'm gonna just point out and call out, just name check. Great job for Joanna Bennett, who is the stunt performer, who is performing the Tusken warrior.
And apparently does all the stunts for like every woman ever.
Pretty much
in every single series and movie.
Wonder Woman, Captain Marvel, Princess Mira from Aquaman. I mean, she's been around.
And the Queen. She was also the stunt double for the Queen.
Of which?
Nicole Kidman in Aquaman.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah.
Even the assassin guy too was a stunt man, so it's great that all of these stunt individuals are getting, their time to shine, not just from their great performances, action wise, but just they get to bring a character to life too. So it's really cool to see them like really utilize all of their skills. So
well, and also, right? I mean,
I felt like such a bad feminist. I didn't even know that was a woman, so I felt like I didn't even know that was a woman, so I felt like such a bad feminist when I found out that it was a woman. I was like,
well, I mean, that's something that, I mean, it's like, these are characters that don't really talk, right? Mm-hmm. So it's all physical performance, and I noticed the warrior immediately how deliberate it's like. It's honestly, it's mask work, right? It's like commedia or Chinese opera where the more movement is precise, and you can inflect emotion or inflect intention by the more precise the movement is. And it's like it came through. I mean, I was like, oh my god, I gotta find out who this is.
Yeah. She's officially my favorite Tusken now, without question. I mean, just because you remember her, and then even during the train battle, I'm like, you better not just throw her off and blow her up, because that's just a waste of good Tusken. So
can we talk about the train for a second? Because when I first saw the train going through, I was like, what the hell is this bullshit? Like, why is there a train? Like, this is so lame. But then I loved the battle scene. I still am not like a huge fan of the fact that there was just like a random spice train going through, but the battle scene was extremely cool. So and I'm so glad that I was like, when she pulled up, I was like,
I mean, here's something like, yes, it's like, okay, if you are flying on spaceships and you have the ability to take your product and land on anywhere on the planet, why do you need a train?
Would you take the train?
So like, but also it's Star Wars and it's like Western, so I'm like, okay, fine.
Well, but it was also line too. Like there was a more direct route that way, and that's why they went. Or I remember there being something like We
I mean,
have to go
it's
that way.
possible that they're shipping the ships land somewhere and they distribute around the planet via
Right.
train. Like, okay, that's fine. It's fine.
Well, okay,
But I
so
mean,
they were. Sorry,
go ahead. No, go ahead.
I mean, it was definitely like this was kind of like the Old West episode of this series, the most Old West episode of the series so far. You have like the train heist, right? And then you have the Tuscans who are more like Native Americans now than we previously would have thought of them. At least that I would have thought of them in the original trilogy. Although now that I look back on it, I can kind of see like how they were just kind of misunderstood in the original trilogy, but it was definitely like, okay, this is this is like a definite like a
They were
parallel to those Old
basically
West
almost
films that
just
George
like
Lucas was such
monsters
a
in the original trilogy. They were just throwaway,
yeah,
like
they were the
they're bad
boogeyman.
guys. Yeah, and then I love now that there's so much more depth that I would have never picked up on. I mean, did we need to see that? No, but I'm glad we are. So I mean, it was just a lot more respect.
Oh, we have a comment. We have a comment on Facebook from Lee Sutherland who says the train stays under the radar, whereas a ship wouldn't.
That's what it was. I knew there was some line.
That,
Okay,
I mean,
I can
that,
see
and
that.
that's consistent with the whole thing in Force Awakens, where like fly low so that you stay out of scanner range or whatever like that. Okay, so I buy that.
The Star Wars equivalent of Amazon Prime. It needed man. They needed to get that spice to those houses. So
I mean,
the fact that he called it, he straight up just stole that from Dune too, calling spice,
and he said that. Yeah, I like Dune.
Yeah.
The spice.
I mean, but so this is also not the first time. I mean, we definitely saw a little bit of this kind of in the last few seasons of the Mandalorian, as Din Djarin has his relationship with the Tuscans and has called out various basically just tropes of how indigenous people are treated when there are colonizers, right? It's actually really interesting, this idea of a train coming through and indiscriminately shooting at whatever crosses their path. That actually is a reference to actually our American West history, where trains would come through and basically they would just aim at bison, figuring that if we can clear bison, then we can clear natives and they won't raid the train. But it was like, just kind of like, so it was like, did you notice like the first thing that goes down is
bantha.
Is a bantha.
Every time a poor bantha goes down.
And so I thought that was just a really interesting way to kind of make this reference. And of course it comes full circle by the end when it's revealed that it is the Pike Syndicate, which, okay, that was really cool. Like, I got very excited when I'm like, oh my God, these are Pikes. These are actual Pikes we're seeing.
Yeah.
And
their
a Pike
faces.
unmasks.
Yes.
For the first time.
That was really cool.
Like, I don't even think they unmasked a Pike in Clone Wars even.
It's like them, the Hutt, is it Syndicate? The Hutt Syndicate?
They're just different crime syndicates.
And the Crimson Dawn, right? Like, they're like the three big crime syndicates.
I don't know depending on where we are in the timeline, right? Because Crimson, I can't remember. Was it Black Sun, which was the coalition that Darth Maul started, or is that Crimson Dawn?
No, no. Well, he was ahead of Crimson Dawn.
He's the head of both, really, right? I mean,
is he?
Yeah,
Crimson he is. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, probably, maybe. That's a research.
Although at this point in the timeline, I think Kira is the head of Crimson Dawn.
Correct. We still don't know the story of how she becoms the. Well, we don't know if she's still alive. So I mean,
in the animated series, Obi-Wan kills Darth Maul, and Kira is Darth Maul's second in command. So naturally, she would be.
Oh yeah. Maybe. Yeah.
We'll find out when she gets her own show.
Yeah.
She's gonna be on another show on Disney Plus.
On
What?
Secret Invasion. Secret Invasion
Yeah.
for Marvel.
Oh, for Marvel.
Yeah.
I didn't know she.
But I think it's a good to keep her on the payroll. I mean, there's rumors that she's getting her own show for Star Wars, and
Interesting.
And I totally buy that. I mean, you got a good thing. It's like, okay, get off the Marvel set now, come over here and do another show, and we need more content. So
But anyways, getting back to like, so when we reveal the Pikes, right, and Boba sits there and he basically does, he does a land acknowledgement for the Tuscans in Tatooine, which I thought was just fascinating. And here we have this indigenous Maori man who is kind of using this allegorically to call out all indigenous people. I just, so that was not lost on me. And I found that to be very significant.
So that part was what made me realize why he might want to be the take over for Bib Fortuna, right? And be in charge of that. Because when I saw him, okay, so first of all, he's like gaining the respect of the Tuscans and working his way up. And then he's ruling, he gives out this sentence to the Pikes in a way that is like strict but fair, right? Like he's giving them a fighting chance to make it, and but also saying like, hey, I'm the boss. And he's fighting for the Tuscans, who are all these different tribes that what did you say, the Lawrence of Arabia, or like Moses like uniting the tribes of Israel, right? And
Boba Fett of House Atreides.
And so that made me realize, like, hey, if I can do this, maybe I can do this on a grander scale. Right. Maybe I can actually make this planet a better place and differentiate myself from my bounty hunter past, my father's bounty hunter past. When we saw his face in the helmet, we got to see the flashback again of like young Boba Fett looking in the helmet, and we saw Tamora Morrison's face. But to me, that almost harkened back to Luke seeing his face in the Darth Vader mask on Dagobah.
Oh yeah, good callback. Yeah,
right. Which is another thing, like father, like okay, you could become like your father, or you could break away and become something different and wholly unique, and also bigger and better than your father, right?
Well, and also, of course, we have Boba, who wants to rule with respect and not fear now, too, right?
Well, and right, and that's what I'm saying, is that's that's when he realizes that he can do that, and that I think that's the starting point. Whereas before this episode, it was like, well, why does he care? Why does he want to be on this throne? And that kind of was what I think ultimately it's going to help his Tuscan brethren if he is in control of Tatooine, and he can kind of look out for them, and raise them back up, because they're them and the Jawas are the only two native sentient beings on the planet, a planet that apparently used to have a ton of oceans. And
actually, that was another cool shot from the
they've obviously had to adapt.
That was another cool shot from his Vision Quest too, right? Where you see the tree, and you see the sands of Tatooine, and then it swells into the oceans of Kamino, right? Which could be also the oceans of or the lost oceans of Tatooine.
But between him, his armor and his body phasing, and then the sand and the ocean phasing, and then the tree branches and the Sarlacc guts.
Yeah.
Phasing.
Yeah, it's like Tracy was saying, it's like his rebirth almost, because it's just, you see that cross dissolving, like again between armor and not, and then him like almost being born again, and it was really
from the womb of the Sarlacc.
yeah. The lizard had to show him where the wood was.
Yeah. That sounded so dirty. I'm not really sure.
Oh God! For once, I didn't
even. It's like the only tree on Tatooine.
That's exactly, for sure.
Only the lizard knows.
Yeah,
only the lizard knows.
I mean,
only the lizard knows.
It's But I mean, it's true.
The lizard knows by going up your nose.
If you ever wondered where the gaffy sticks were made of, right? I mean, it's like, okay, then there is a tree somewhere.
And the
cool
lizard
things,
also saved him 15% or more on car insurance. I'm sorry, I had to just throw. No, okay.
Oh Lord.
Actually,
I'm done.
The gaffy stick, when he has to make his own gaffy stick, like that was kind of cool, because it kind of harkened back to Jedi having to make their own lightsaber, right? And he had to go on this quest to find this piece of wood. Jedi have to go on the quest to find their kyber crystal. It just kind of all comes together, right? It's like this multifaceted.
It's like poetry. It rhymes. But yes, absolutely. Another kind of point, another kind of cool little Easter egg that that carving the wood shop is actually modeled after an old piece of what was
Ralph
Macquarie
McQuarrie
art.
artwork, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
his
Yeah.
art.
It was taken straight from that piece of art he did, yeah.
Another great little reference is we finally get to see Tashi's station.
Yes, and Cammy and Fixer.
Yeah.
And Fixer.
Yeah, that was cool.
As they are defended from a gang of Nito swoop bikers or bank gang.
Yeah.
my wife was incredibly thrilled since her name is Cammy. So she's like, there's another Cammy and it's in the Star Wars universe. I'm so stoked. And so I was like, there it is. So
I mean, and this was like kind of the really cool thing about this episode, where, you know, the tribes of Tatooine, and we get to see Hutts, we get to see, you know, more contenders for, of course, we meet the mayor, who's an Ithorian. We got
who was Robert Rodriguez, by the way.
Yes, it was Robert Rodriguez. We got to learn more about the Tuskens, and we got the Pikes, right? So it's like, it really was like, oh my gosh, we're setting up, you know, I mean, a lot of different factions, which is, you know, interesting to go, okay, where's this going? What is this leading to, right? What other factions are out there? What are we getting to, right? Which does make me wonder, kind of what you were alluding to, Jason, before, is no, wait, actually, were you saying this? No, maybe it was Tracy talking about Kira. You were talking about Kira, right?
We both were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
But it was probably Tracy.
So are we leading up to a reveal of Kira?
Well, that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that she guest stars
me
on
too.
here.
Yeah. I mean, and you know what? Character would be roughly 40-ish in this timeline at this point.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, well, I mean, the actress is like 30, 34, 33 years, like that.
Oh,
but like, you know,
older than me.
But we you know, Bo-Katan is, you know, aged. She's not exactly her actual age either, so, you know, it's like, yeah, so it's, I mean, it's an interesting thing. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
We're promised Skywalker level cameos is what they keep saying. So I'm waiting. They only got 4 episodes to go, so they need to get on it. So
That would be hard to top Luke Skywalker.
Not if Han Solo shows up. So
I don't think he's going to. Not Harrison Ford. Maybe the younger one.
I mean,
what's his name?
Alden Ehrenreich. Here's the thing, right? Is that we know that he's been on a Lucasfilm set.
Yeah.
The last year. Yeah. We also know that they've been creating a CG model because there are scenes where Harrison Ford is still punching Nazis. So it's like, you know, with dots on his face. So there is a CG model out there somewhere.
I'll believe it when I see it. I mean, I'll be the first to admit, okay, I was wrong. I'll wax your car or something. I don't know.
But so anything else we want to talk about the episode this week? Any other Easter eggs we haven't hit?
Gosh, we went through a lot of the things that were on
I mean, honestly,
list.
Everything felt pretty significant. I felt like there was so much in this episode that was just
I did learn that the same cinematographer on this episode was the one who was a cinematographer for Back to the Future 3, which is
yes, it was Lawrence Kasdan,
yeah.
Or no,
you mean
no, not Lawrence Kasdan. Was it Dean Cundy? I've confused my cinematographers.
Honestly, I didn't pay
Dean Cundy. Sorry, excuse me.
Cundy, yeah.
Oh,
but
I didn't pay much attention to his name.
Screenwriter.
I'm pretty sure that I saw a Hask in a Slave Leia outfit when the cousins were coming in.
Oh, really?
She had like a bikini and like a little like a thing that came down, and I was like, "Is that a Slave Leia outfit?"
They just found it amongst all the sailboat directors. Like, don't waste not wanting on.
Sort of like slit skirt. It basically looks like the weasel.
The weasel?
Weasel?
What weasel?
Like dancers, right? Because we saw like the Twilight and those dancers.
I'm still caught on the weasel. Wait, what?
Oh,
Wait, are we losing
Breaking up?
Tracy?
yeah.
Tracy's breaking up.
Ah, I think I was breaking up.
Yes.
Am I still breaking up? Am I good?
Nope, you're good.
No, you're here. You're back.
Okay. Okay. But we saw the dancers in Jabba's palace, right? And they were wearing kind of
Oh,
similar
okay.
outfits.
All right.
So, like, I think that's kind of a very common Tatooine dancer
Oh, okay.
outfit. But it looks like, but the Husk looks kind of like Weasel from like the most recent Suicide Squad movie, and so it looks like Weasel wearing a Slave Leia outfit.
Got it.
I think that's what caught my eye because I was like, "That's sexy." I mean, I'm sure the furries are going nuts, right? Okay. No judgment. No judgment.
It's like, if you have fur, do you need a bikini? I don't know, whatever. Anyways, that's it for this week's show. I'm very excited to see where this leads, right? We are now 1/3 through the season. So yeah, I mean, in theory, that was the first act. So things will probably start raising the stakes with the next couple episodes. Cool. All right, let's head into the next segment. So this is a quick little segment. So this is something we're gonna call Headcanon. So Headcanon is this new segment was basically that where we talk about how we justify plot holes or things in Star Wars history, right? This is like after 40 years of Star Wars storytelling, not everything always lines up, right? We know George Lucas has changed his mind about various things. There was one point when Boba Fett was going to be Luke's mother. The idea that they were twins was something that came up late in the game as well. Most people didn't even know that Luke's father was Darth Vader on the set, and they found out when they saw the movie.
Boba Fett was also going to be a new stormtrooper too, but they didn't have the budget.
Yeah, that's true. So the question then, of course, of how do we, as fans who love Star Wars and give Star Wars a little bit of room sometimes, how do we patch up those holes in this tapestry of all the Star Wars storytelling? So today's topic is the area of gray that is Leia's memory of Padme. Now, if you remember in Return of the Jedi, after coming to terms with the truth about Darth Vader being his father and Leia finding out Leia is his sister, Luke talks to Leia on Endor and says, do you have any memory of your mother? And she says, just a little bit. She died when I was very young. And he asks, what do you remember? And she says, just images, really, feelings. She was very beautiful, kind, but sad. Now, of course, we know that Luke also says that he has no memory of his mother. And we know that to be true because we saw Padme die shortly after giving birth to Luke and Leia of what did she die of? Of like she lost a broken heart. She lost the will to live, right? So, panel, let me ask you, where did Leia get these memories of her mother from?
From the Force.
Are we sure she was? Are we sure she was talking about her birth mother, or maybe she was talking about her adopted mother? Did Mrs. Organa die when she was young?
That's possible, but Luke does ask her, do you have any memories of your mother, your real mother?
Oh, does he specify that?
He does.
Oh, he does, yeah.
Because she asks him why, and he says, because I have no memory of my mother. And then he lays it on her and goes,
just say there's a real
because we were 5 minutes old.
It's all spiritual. It's just all the connection of the Force. I mean, like, that's a total bullshit throwaway answer, but I mean, like, it's just, I mean,
she could be Force sensitive, so she has Force memory.
Sensitive. If,
she is, yeah. She Mary Poppins that shit.
So she's super Leia.
So how come Luke has the memory of his mother then?
Because he's a boy.
He's a boy. Oh boy.
Girls should pay way more attention. Girls are the one who maintain the attachment to their mothers when they become adults.
So Luke
Boys
is
don't.
not a mama's boy.
It's got to be the midichlorians.
Mhm.
Like-
There it is.
Like, we'll let you be a Jedi. We'll give you a 5-minute memory of your mom.
She
And the
met
about to not breathe.
she met Watto at some point buying scrap, and he's like, "Oh, your mother, huh? She was a good girl." Died so young. It sucks. You want to buy this power converter.
See, now I know you can do that. You can do that impersonation. We're using that later.
Oh, okay. Right. Great. I'm sure that won't offend anybody.
It's an alien.
It's an alien. It's not based on anything specific. It's like, I'm just trying to save money and give you things.
Oh.
I know. It needs to stop now. What's the next plot hole, Andy?
So bad.
Okay, I mean,
So
okay, so here's other things too, right? Like, another way, maybe she actually is force seeing her father's memories of Padme, right?
Oh, okay.
Right? I mean, because that's the other interesting thing the difference between Luke. Luke didn't really have a strong connection with or like he didn't grow up with Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan was off in the distance, and Owen and Beru didn't really have much of a relationship with Anakin or Padme. They hung out with them for like a weekend, right? But she was raised by people who had memories and had impressions of Padme. So I mean,
Luke does have like a weird connection with his father, but Leia doesn't really, right?
Right.
So it could. I mean,
she basically gets up in her father's face and she doesn't know it.
Right. But like they don't like even Vader doesn't really seem to have the same fascination with her that he does with Luke. So it's like
well, he
Luke
never
and
knows,
Anakin,
right? Like he only finds out that Luke is alive because he blows up a Death Star. But you're right, he doesn't sense the Force in her, does he?
Right. Like he, I mean, the Emperor says that there's another, but Vader never does. But like even without that, like they just have they have this weird like Batman Joker connection, right? Like they're just kind of keep meeting each other and being drawn to each other. So it's possible that Leia might have that same kind of weird string, right? Like a string that connects them with Padme.
Yeah.
Apparently, Ian on Facebook says she's remembering the babysitter, obviously. That was good. I had to say that's fantastic.
Oh God, there's so many other offensive jokes I can go from there.
He was a babysitter, obviously. She's a good girl.
Oh dear.
Oh God.
That's why Leia grew up speaking Bachi.
Oh, gee.
Cool. Yeah. Let's see here. Any other dimensions that we want to bring to this without me?
I think the baby.
Oh God, I've been like totally self-derailed. I derailed myself.
Oh, good.
So yeah, indigenous Tuskens. Land acknowledgement of Tatooine.
Oh shit.
I have tears.
Yeah, I mean it's a fun thing because obviously we know that ultimately George Lucas didn't really know yet. He hadn't filmed these scenes, and for him it was more dramatic at the time when he shot Revenge of the Sith to do it this way. But yeah, I mean, I think there is totally a path. There's many paths, many of which we've discussed here. Maybe you have your own path. Please feel free to share it with us in the chat or in any of our chats or on any of our social media.
Raul would like us to. Yeah, Raul would like us to know that he's so over Luke, Leia, and Han.
Oh, over Luke, Leia, and Han. Like let's
over
move on.
Over it.
It's a big galaxy. There's plenty plenty others out there.
Yeah. There's a lot of other threesomes happening elsewhere. Yeah, let's get to that.
Yeah.
But now we're talking about threesomes now.
Speaking of which, is Mando gonna show up on this series? Maybe a little bit.
Well, you know, I mean, and that's the thing, right? We know that this is somehow going to connect for whatever the overarching storyline ends up being between all of these Filoni and Favreau shows, right? I'm still very curious about, you know, are we going to see some level of adaptation of the Heir to the Empire in all of this? Because I have ideas of how this all fits into everything, right? Yeah, and I mean, for that matter, though, it is interesting of if we do end up with a Kira reveal, does that, you know, is that the end of Kira and Boba Fett ends up ruling the underworld, or is Kira and Boba Fett become partners in some way?
Dun dun dun.
Anyways, I think that's it for the show this week. Do we have anything else in the chat we wanna get at?
I don't think so. I think we're good.
I don't think anything can beat the babysitter comment. I'm sorry. I'm just going back to that because that was just fantastic.
That just made me go like on this weird like adventures in babysitting thing in my head. Like, don't tell mom the babysitter's dead. Like, I just was scrolling through all these possible scenarios, but with like Star Wars context. It was a whole thing.
A whole mess.
This is why we need a protocol droid, right? So come back next week. We're here every Monday night at 8:00 p.m. Pacific time. Hope you can stay up late with us, or if you cannot, this will be here on YouTube and on Facebook for replay. Next week, we're going to come back and talk about Chapter 3. If you are crazy and insane and you're like super impatient like me, that's midnight tomorrow night or on Wednesday. And we're also going to have a little bit of a book review. We'll be back with Lexi next week, and she's going to be covering a new comic book run from Kevin Scott and another creator that I did not write here in my notes, unfortunately, but it is The Monster of Temple Peak. This is a High Republic story arc that Kevin Scott wrote. Yeah, she'll be on with us to kind of talk about that. And also, we want to see all of your Star Wars creations. Do you cosplay? Do you make fan films? Build droids, build models, sell stuff on Etsy? Show us how Star Wars has inspired you, and we just might feature you on the show. Thank you for joining us. Come back here on the Geekish Network every Monday night at 8:00. Please follow Geekish Network on YouTube and Facebook. Subscribe to the channel. Thanks for joining us on our new night. And check out the schedule for all the other great shows here on the Geekish Network throughout the week. Thanks on the flight deck to Rodney. And we are the Pod Squadron. Please check out our content on podsquadron.com. Like and subscribe on us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. For podcast subscriptions, you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or your favorite podcast app. I am the Chinese Pirate at ChinesePirate_ on all platforms.
I am Tracy, the Hot Nerd Girl at Hot Nerd Girl on Facebook, Hot Nerd Girl Official on Instagram, Hot_Nerd_Girl on Twitter. I'm trying to unify all those to make it really easy.
And Jason Salazar, BeyondForever.net, Beyond Forever Studios, everywhere else. And yeah.
All wings return to base. Course laid in and prepared to make the jump to lightspeed on my mark. And remember, the truths we cling to only depend on your own point of view. Only the Sith deal in absolutes. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Alanis Morris Sith.
Alanis Morissette?
Alanis Morris Sith.
No, Alanis Morissette.
Morissette, jagged little Sith.
Jagged
little Sith.
Morissette.
Love it. I want to hear that album.